History is a tapestry woven with countless threads, but some moments stand out as sudden, violent tears that dramatically alter the pattern. Assassination attempts, whether they succeed or fail, represent such pivotal junctures. They are not merely isolated acts of violence, but critical historical events with far-reaching consequences. These acts are often driven by intense motivations, ranging from deep-seated political disagreements and fervent ideological beliefs to profound personal grievances. Regardless of the motive, the target is typically a figure of significant power or influence. The impact of striking at such a person can be immense. Such attempts can trigger cascading events, sometimes escalating into major conflicts like wars. They possess the power to dismantle existing governments, paving the way for entirely new political structures. Fundamentally, these acts can reshape the very fabric of societies, altering social norms, power dynamics, and national identities for generations. Understanding these moments is crucial to grasping the unpredictable nature of human history. They serve as stark reminders that the course of nations can hinge on a single violent act. The ripple effects of these attempts continue to shape our world today. Some assassinations have left indelible marks, redirecting the flow of global events in profound ways. Examining specific cases reveals the immense power of these acts to reshape the world. These are not just stories of violence, but narratives of how power, politics, and individual actions intersect with devastating results. Perhaps one of the most cited examples of an assassination attempt dramatically altering history is the killing of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in 1914. As the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, his life held immense political significance within the complex European landscape. His death became the catalyst for a global catastrophe. The perpetrator was Gavrilo Princip, a young Bosnian Serb nationalist. His act in Sarajevo was intended to strike a blow against Austro-Hungarian rule in the Balkans. However, its immediate effect was to ignite the already simmering tensions across the European continent. Europe at the time was a tinderbox of competing empires, nationalistic ambitions, and intricate military alliances. The assassination provided the spark that set this volatile situation ablaze. Austria-Hungary, with the backing of Germany, issued an ultimatum to Serbia, which they deemed responsible. Serbia's response was deemed insufficient, triggering a complex web of treaty obligations and mutual defense pacts. Nation after nation was drawn into the conflict. Declarations of war rapidly spread across Europe, pulling in major powers like Russia, France, and Great Britain. What began as a regional crisis quickly escalated into World War I. This devastating global conflict engulfed Europe and extended far beyond its borders, involving nations from around the world. The war resulted in unprecedented levels of death and destruction. The consequences of the war were monumental. The map of Europe was drastically redrawn, with old empires collapsing and new nation-states emerging. The Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, Russian, and German empires all met their end. However, the peace settlements and the unresolved issues from the war also sowed the seeds for future conflicts. Resentments festered, economic instability grew, and new ideological battles began. The assassination of Franz Ferdinand truly set in motion a chain of events that defined the 20th century. Another profoundly impactful assassination occurred much earlier, in ancient Rome in 44 BC. The target was Julius Caesar, a military general and statesman whose power had grown to eclipse that of the traditional Roman Republic. His ambition and authority were seen as a threat by many. The perpetrators were a group of Roman senators, including Marcus Junius Brutus. They feared Caesar intended to declare himself king, thereby destroying the republic they cherished. Their intention was to eliminate the perceived tyrant and restore the traditional republican system of government. However, their act had the opposite effect of what they intended. Instead of preserving the republic, Caesar's assassination plunged Rome into a prolonged period of civil war. Various factions vied for control, leading to years of political instability and bloodshed. This power struggle ultimately paved the way for a new political order. The chaos demonstrated the fragility of the Republic and the need for strong, centralized leadership. It created the conditions necessary for a single individual to seize ultimate power. The eventual victor in the civil wars was Octavian, Caesar's adopted son. Octavian consolidated power, defeated his rivals, and effectively ended the Roman Republic. He became the first Roman emperor, later known as Augustus. Ironically, the Senator's attempt to save the Republic led directly to its demise and the establishment of the Roman Empire. This new imperial system would rule for centuries, profoundly shaping the history, law, language, and culture of Western civilization. The assassination of Caesar was a turning point from one era to another. Moving to more recent history, the assassination of U.S. President Abraham Lincoln in 1865 also had a significant and lasting impact. Occurring just days after the end of the American Civil War, it removed the leader who had guided the nation through its greatest crisis. His death came at a critical juncture. Lincoln had a vision for the post-war Reconstruction era. While firm on the abolition of slavery and the reunification of the states, he was perceived by many as favoring a more lenient approach towards the defeated Southern states. His goal was to bind the nation's wounds and achieve reconciliation. His assassination by John Wilkes Booth removed this key figure from the political landscape. Lincoln's successor, Andrew Johnson, faced immense political challenges and lacked Lincoln's political skill and moral authority. The path of Reconstruction became far more contentious and punitive. Historians debate exactly how Reconstruction would have unfolded under Lincoln. However, his absence undeniably led to a different trajectory for the nation during this crucial period. It potentially altered the course of race relations and the struggle for social justice in the United States for decades to come. The promise of a unified and truly equal nation faced new obstacles without his leadership. The impact of assassination attempts is not limited to those that succeed. Even failed attempts can have profound and unexpected consequences, revealing underlying tensions and altering the course of events in significant ways. They demonstrate that the mere attempt can be a powerful historical force. A notable example of a failed attempt with major repercussions is the July plot against Adolf Hitler in 1944. Led by Colonel Claus von Stauffenberg and other German military officers, the plot aimed to assassinate Hitler, overthrow the Nazi regime, and negotiate a peace settlement with the Allied powers to end World War II. The plotters came close to succeeding, placing a bomb in a briefcase near Hitler during a meeting. However, the bomb's placement was shifted, and Hitler survived the blast with only minor injuries. The failure of the assassination attempt had immediate and severe consequences for the conspirators and for Germany. The failure exposed deep divisions within the German military and government, revealing that not everyone supported Hitler's fanatical pursuit of the war. Hitler's response was swift and brutal. He initiated widespread purges within the military and other institutions. Thousands of suspected plotters and their families were arrested, tortured, and executed. This ruthless crackdown further tightened Hitler's already iron grip on power. Any remaining significant internal opposition was effectively crushed. The failure of the plot meant the war continued unabated under Hitler's command. This prolonged World War II for many more months, leading to even greater devastation, loss of life, and suffering across Europe. The opportunity for a potentially earlier end to the conflict was lost. Assassination attempts, successful or failed, serve as potent reminders of the inherent fragility of power. They highlight how the removal or near removal of a single individual can send shockwaves through entire systems of governance and society. The stability of nations can sometimes rest precariously on the lives of a few key figures. These acts also underscore the unpredictable nature of history. While broad social, economic, and political forces are always at play, individual actions, especially those involving violence against leaders, can introduce sudden, chaotic variables that defy easy prediction. A single bullet or bomb can change everything. Ultimately, assassination attempts demonstrate the profound and often devastating impact of individual acts of violence on the collective human experience. They are stark examples of how the actions of a few can alter the trajectory of nations, reshape political landscapes, and impact the lives of millions of people for generations to come. From ancient Rome to the 20th century, these moments of attempted or successful violence against leaders have forever altered the course of human events. They remain critical points of study for understanding the forces that shape our world.